how confident are you that you're going to get approval?
Well, something has changed. So we had put in a number of times a filing, and we were just denied. Never got any questions, really never got any response. This time, this summer, we got questions back from the SEC. Now, normally when you get questions from the SEC, you're just saying, oh my goodness. We were thrilled to get questions back because it means they're engaged now. That's January 10th is the final deadline. They've been able to push it. It's very orchestrated. Push it, but the final, they either approve or deny on January 10th.
Cathie Wood runs a peculiar asset management firm. She is the founder and chief executive officer of ARK Invest, a Florida-based investment management firm that manages several actively managed exchange-traded funds based on disruptive innovation. ARK Invest has identified and currently focuses on 5 innovation platforms, described as the most disruptive innovation platforms evolving together today. These platforms are robotics, energy storage, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and multi-omics sequencing. It is no surprise then that ARK Invest, in partnership with 21 Shares, a renowned financial technology company, is launching several crypto-based exchange-traded fund products. Most popular are their spot Bitcoin and Ether ETF, which are still awaiting approval by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. After months of back and forth and sometimes nerve-wracking silence, Wood is more than happy to announce a shift in the SEC's attitude toward crypto asset-based spot ETF, especially for Bitcoin. According to Wood, there has been a complete change in the Commission's attitude. As we approach the final January 10 deadline, the renowned hedge fund manager is certain that the cryptocurrency industry is finally about to get a spot Bitcoin ETF. In addition, Wood is certain that we won't just be getting one spot Bitcoin ETF, but several approvals at once to ensure fairness between all firms that have submitted applications to the SEC. Wood recently joined Yahoo Finance for an interview. During the interview, the ARK Invest executive talked about the SEC's change in attitude and what it means for the pending applications before them. She also spoke at length about Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency, describing it simply as the global monetary system. According to Wood, the monetary system is a complete mess at the moment, and only Bitcoin can bring back discipline and rigor into the system, making it better, safer, and more rewarding, especially for the average person. As we bring you clips from Cathie Wood's interview, please watch the video to the end so you don't miss any details, especially Wood's updated and exciting price prediction for Bitcoin. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos. Thanks and enjoy the video.
Well, our focus always, from the beginning, has been on disruptive innovation. And we believe that blockchain technology is one of the most disruptive innovation platforms evolving today. I think we've interviewed, or I've interviewed with you a number of times, so you know it's robotics, energy storage, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and multi-omic sequencing. So it's one of the 5 major platforms we've been focused on since the beginning of ARK. We celebrate our 10th-year anniversary in January. We took our first exposure in Bitcoin when it was $250 in 2015, and we wrote a paper back then. And we knew we wanted to be involved back then. And actually, prior to that, the director of research and I at another firm had been focused on it. This is the first global, digital, private, rules-based monetary system in history. It's a very big idea. When we wrote the paper in collaboration with Art Laffer, you know Art Laffer, supply-side economics, Laffer curve, he said, I've been waiting for this since they closed the gold window in 1971. So he's been waiting 50 years for this, right? And he's so excited about everything crypto, but especially Bitcoin, because he believes, and it is true, monetary policy around the world is unhinged. It's not hinged to anything except human decision-making. And this is going to put discipline, rigor, back into
these particular products you're talking about.
Well, Bitcoin is, the monetary system is Bitcoin. And so, yes, Why now for these? We've been working with 21 shares since I met Ophelia at an ETF confab in 2018. They had really just started their business. And I said, we want to move towards crypto. You are completely crypto. They were focused on the infrastructure, the regulations, really blazing a trail. They had to invent things in order to make this happen. And we knew that was not our core competency. But we did start talking. Our core competency is research on disruptive innovation. And they do research, they do deep technical research on the market. Our research is on the disruptive innovation that it represents. And we've just been coming together for 5 years. It was a natural for us to come together. They are, or 21 Shares is the largest crypto ETP provider in the world, $1.5 billion. They have 35 different funds, most of them in Europe, in and around Europe. They were looking for a US entree, and we were looking for infrastructure, and we're just delighted to be partnering with them, given how much groundwork they had to lay for this to happen. Now, we have met a number of the research people at the SEC on the research side, and they are extremely sophisticated. They know what they're talking about, and the level of sophistication of their questions suggested, okay, now they're moving deeply into this. And we answered those questions. We have not heard back. That's a good sign too. They never tell you that you've satisfied them, but if you don't hear from them, that usually means that you have satisfied the answers to the requests. So that was new, and we also know that BlackRock got questions. Mm-hmm. We put our answers in first. I think they have followed, and I'm not sure about anyone else. Mm-hmm. That was different, and it says, okay, there's movement, and we are the first in line. Just because we kept refiling, others gave up. And so, but we just kept refiling. And we became first in line. So David against Goliaths, right? And that's January 10th is the final deadline.
The SEC first delayed its decision on ARK Invest's spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund application on August 11. About 8 weeks later, on September 26, the regulator said it would designate a longer period on whether to approve or disapprove of a proposed rule change that would allow the operation of ARK 21 Shares Spot Bitcoin ETF. The commission gave itself an additional 60 days to consider ARK's application, with a final deadline set for January 10, 2024, exactly 240 days after ARK and 21 Shares filed their applications. At that date, the SEC must announce its decision on ARK's Spot Bitcoin ETF application. There will be no more deferring. However, there have been several reports that the SEC, in avoiding favoritism, could approve the 8 to 10 ETF fillings is currently considering anytime between now and January 10. Wood agrees with these reports and predicts that there is a very high chance that this is exactly how things will play out on or before January 10. Let's get back to the interview as the ARK Invest executive speaks further about ETF applications, Bitcoin, and how ETF approvals will positively impact the overall cryptocurrency industry.
They've been able to push it. It's very orchestrated. Push it, but the final, they either approve or deny on January 10th. And,
what do you think?
Well, again, I mentioned something has changed.
Right.
That's good. The odds have gone up. There is only one wrinkle, just occurred to us in the last couple of days. They will approve a number at once. It won't be just one. That would be choosing a winner, given the way ETFs work. But we know Grayscale wants to convert to an ETF. I don't know how practical that is, or if the SEC will let them, or if they need a special dispensation. I just don't know the rules. Grayscale has said it will sue the SEC again if it denies the conversion. If they were to do that before January 10th, I don't know if that would throw everything up in the air again. I just
for
don't
the
know.
others as well.
For everyone.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. So if we look at the reasons that Bitcoin will scale, so our base case is today $600,000 to $650,000, and our bull case, based on the scarcity that is now developing, we're at roughly 19.5 million Bitcoin out there. There will only be 21 million ever, and we do believe that. If the SEC blesses a Bitcoin ETF, institutions will feel like the coast is clear for them to pursue. And we know a lot of institutions have been researching crypto assets for a while and do agree that it is a new asset class. Bitcoin was the first in a new asset class. We wrote a paper in 2000, I think it was 16, ringing the bell for a new asset class. Mm-hmm. And our director of digital assets said to me, "Do you realize that happened today? We rang the bell for a new asset class." I said, "Oh, I didn't make that connection." Anyway, so institutions understand when there is a new asset class, it's there's an opportunity to diversify and increase returns per unit of risk. That's very important. They've also learned that that Bitcoin in particular can be a hedge against both inflation and deflation. Everyone understood the inflation part of it because right now it's pretty much considered like digital gold, a hedge against inflation. But we learned something very important during the March regional bank crisis. What happened to Bitcoin then? Now, that was risk off and a deflationary vibe about it, right? Banks going bankrupt. Bitcoin went from 19,000 to almost 30,000, up 50%. What was that? That was proof of concept that it's a hedge against deflation too. What can cause deflation in a financial crisis? It's counterparty risk. You don't know what is on the books of the banks and which ones are going to go bankrupt and which ones aren't. So there's a seizing up. Mm-hmm. So, just get away from that. Move into an ecosystem where there is no counterparty risk. That is Bitcoin, completely decentralized, completely transparent, and no counterparty risk. So I think more people are beginning to understand that, sure, it's a risk-on asset, but it's also a risk-off asset. And gold has some of that, but Bitcoin has that on steroids, I would say.
Let us know your comments on Wood's insightful remarks about Bitcoin and her $600,000 price prediction for the leading crypto asset in the comments section below. Meanwhile, the SEC has announced yet another delay. On Wednesday, the agency announced it would postpone its decision on Hashdex, one of the three firms, with a deadline of Friday, November 17, 2023. Hashdex's bid to convert its Bitcoin futures fund into a spot ETF will remain under consideration until January 1, the second deadline for the application. On Thursday, the Commission also announced it was postponing its decision on Grayscale's application for an Ether ETF until January 1, 2024. The SEC is still due to deliver a verdict on Global X and Franklin Templeton applications today. But by the time this video gets out, it will probably have announced another delay. But things could completely change in January when the SEC is expected to announce a slew of approvals. What are your thoughts on Cathie Wood's interview and her predictions for Bitcoin? Please drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos. Thanks for watching.